Secondly, and legal. Welcome to the panel discussion on the future of fashion, solution of sustainable practices, inclusive sizing, and diversity within their country. Today, as we embark on a journey unraveling the intricacies of fashion evolution, we together threads of innovation, social responsibility, and inclusivity. Join us as we delve into the transformative power of fashion, paving the way for a more equitable and sustainable future. It is with great respect and honor that I extend our heartfelt invitation to our esteemed Director Sir, Dean Ma'am, panel guests, and Professor Rituparna, coordinator of HR Club, to join us on the stage for a ceremonial lighting of the lamp. Symbolizing the element of yeah, shoot myself. Yeah, Now, please join me in welcoming our distinguished panel members, Ms. Varija Bajaj, Ms. Aditi Swain, and Ms. Singh. Your expertise and insights are valuable to our discussion today. Additionally, I kindly request Professor Rituparna to grace our stage and moderate our session with her esteemed guidance.
I can introduce our next introduce our director, Professor Dr. Silicon Theory, with 27 years of experience, serves as a pioneer in management, marketing, and strategic planning, holding a PhD degree from Harvard University. His expertise spans research, training, mentoring, with notable contributions to academia and industry alike. Currently leading the Institute of Marketing and Management in New Delhi, such influence extends globally, enriching both minds and organizations. Please give a big hand for our director, sir.
Introducing our esteemed Dean Ma'am, Professor Smith Alal, a leader whose impact exceeds titles. With 39 years of experience in the industry and academia, her journey spans corporate accolades at Philips India and J. Walter Thompson, shaping HR and training initiatives. Professor Lal's dedication extends to her role as marketing faculty at IMM, where her influence resonates. Recognized for social impacts, she is honored with the Trailblazer Award and accolades for education contribution. Let's welcome Professor Singh. Now let us start the session by introducing Varija Bajaj, a luminary in Indian fashion, celebrated for her groundbreaking design and social activism. Varied and vibrant, her creations bridge tradition and modernity, leaving an indelible mark on the industry. Known for her transformative Pagdi collection, Ms. Varija Bajaj boldly reimagined cultural symbols, empowering women with every stitch. Not stopping there, her Vrindavan collection challenged societal norms, shedding light on the plight of widows in Indian society. Through her designs, she advocated for inclusivity and broke stereotypes, earning accolades for her social concise vision. Varija now impact beyond the runway. As the chairperson of NGO, Varija Life, she champions the right of disabled individuals, leading initiatives like the National Ability Summit to foster inclusion across sectors. Please welcome, I am giving a big hand to Ms. Varija. A community whose chapter content boundaries, creating a meaningful impact on society and inspiring change with everything.
Next guest is Aditi Swain, the luminary in fashion and marketing, bringing more than a decade of expertise rooted in research culture. A passion for creativity, nurtured by her diverse talents in fine arts and Indian classical dance, shines through. Aditi Mam's advocacy for sustainability and human rights, paired with an MBA in marketing, economics, her commitment to the holistic growth. As the visionary behind Say Chivalry on Rouge, she champions eco-conscious entrepreneurship and makes accolades from esteemed institutions. Aditi Mam's journey embodies adventure, culture, and a continuous pursuit of excellence. Please give a big hand to Ms. For third distinct panelist, Ninja Singh, former supermodel and a trailblazer in the fashion world. Rising to fame as the winner of Hot Supermodel, he has curated a legacy spanning over a decade. Through her agency, Ninja's Models, she has championed diversity, introducing the best models to the forefront of the fashion industry. Not alone, Ninja Max intrigue deepens, criminal lawyer, and an astute business owner. Dynamic persona is a fusion of glamour, intellect, and entrepreneurial spirit, makes a strong presence everywhere, in every field she graces. Please give a big hand to Ninja.
Let me introduce one today's moderator of the session, Professor Rituparna Prasoon, an executive educator with a unique blend of corporate and academic experience. With a background in law and sociology from the University of Delhi, coupled with MBA in HR, she brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. Known for crafting impactful programs and workshops, Professor Prasoon is also a prolific blogger on blog site Medium, sharing her insights and expertise with a global audience. So now, get ready for an enlightening session guided by the multi-faceted experts with us. Big hand, please. So much, Shamini, and thank you so much, Chirag. Thank you so much, guests, for coming at such a short notice. It's an honor and pleasure for me to share the stage with you three amazing, dynamic ladies. March is the month for women, and this time we thought that if we are taking the subject of diversity, equity, inclusion, and sustainability, who else but you three would be the right panel to discuss this with our students? We and I, as they say, has been a very, very intriguing topic since ages for HR professionals. It's a cause of concern. It's a strategic issue that needs to be addressed. And today, the sector that we are choosing to understand D&I is the fashion. So I will start with Ninja.
Okay, Ninja. Is it okay if I address you first? So let me start the session with Ninja. Ninja, I've been doing you have actually advocated, in fact, you fought for the brown representation on the international scale. What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, thanks for the question because that pretty much sums up why I'm here. I used to be a model in New York, so I won a four super model competition and ended up going to New York. But coming from a middle class family like I do, it's usually like विदेश में जाके सबने settle होते हैं. So I went to New York. I'm sure all of you are have this situation of different places, probably glad about it, being a part of Silicon Valley. So I kind of felt like in the modeling industry में वहाँ पर next time ब्राउन लोगों की कलर के नाम की पहचान नहीं होती, ना पर्सनालिटी होती है. ब्राउन लड़की तो एक्सोटिक, ब्राउन लड़का तो ठीक है मॉडल बनेगा. So I was fed up of every time I used to go for a casting, तो बोलते अच्छा you're from India, you know exactly nothing that you and that's it. So I was like, when a Filipino comes there, when a Brazilian comes there, they have the same skin color as I do, but they're giving more personification, they're giving more identity than I am. Because somewhere our leaders are not doing a great job. We're getting so many opportunities, but they're never becoming leaders. They're becoming, they're working force. It's their plan of action, and we're just executing it. So I was like, I'm going to give modeling a meaning. And I had a very bad incident of ending up in a psychiatry department. That's another story. But I thought I'm going to go with the slums and find supermodels. हम जोगियों में गए क्योंकि पतले लड़के को अपने खाने को नहीं मिलता तो पतले चलेंगे. तो जीन्स अच्छे हैं उनके और हाथ वाले मॉडल्स निकाले. We made them work for very very big brands. And Rhythm over here was one of our first models. We got the story was that we got people in the market. You can think it, you can do it. So, don't be scared of pushing yourself, and especially women. Periods, breakups, husbands, divorces, nothing should stop you from giving your 100%. Take a tablet, show up.
Our next question is again, you have actually creating designs and you are specialized in women workwear. You have your puppy collection and Vrindavan collection, where you actually brought to light the stigmas attached with widows. What was the inspiration behind it?
First, I must compliment the energy in this room. I haven't seen anybody clapping so loud in so many sessions. And that speaks about your nature more than you started speaking. So thank you. This rubs in a lot of positive vibes. I'll say something which, so I am a management graduate myself. That stuck to my mind, and I think a lot of you will relate to it. Do you know who's Philip Kotler? So Philip Kotler said, if your customer wants rotten apples, you give them rotten apples. You don't give them fine apples because they don't want it. So, in literal sense, it means try to understand your consumer very well. So when I came back to India, I did my MBA from UK. I came back to India and I realized, so this was 2004, and I realized that a lot of women had started working, but not still out there. They were not in leadership roles. So 2015 is what we launched something called Opportunity. That's a workwear brand for Indian women, and our tagline says reinventing workwear for Indian women. because working women is a very okay, let me correct myself. Working women into the office is a very recent phenomenon. So women were working, they were never in the front rows, they were never in leadership roles, they were still not, or they were never working out of their home, they were never facing the world out there. So it is never important to represent themselves. So I think somewhere designers like us, we don't do that justice, and even today, it's a very nascent space. We are not doing justice enough to represent India and represent women the way they should be. So when we say workwear, what do you think workwear is for women? Anybody? Formals. What do you mean as formals? Yeah, coat, pants, shirts, skirts. Charlie chowk जाओगे तो meeting करने क्या पहनोगे? You'll go in a metro, you'll go in a rickshaw, and you're going to Chandni Chowk in the weather conditions that Delhi has. Can we wear clothes like, let's say, what you're wearing? And we are still in Delhi, so Chandni Chowk is still very defined. So we are talking tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities. We are working in culturally sensitive environment, which is very, very integral to India. So we can't just bring fashion from the West and impose that on Indian women. It does not represent their psyche best, one. It doesn't appeal to the environment that they are working in. So that's where office do happen. And so we have three categories, and I was speaking to Dilip earlier. So we have one category which is typically corporate, what you and me are wearing. The other category is called feet on the street, women who are battling weather conditions, women who are traveling by metros or rickshaws or in the sales job. It's a more sooty version of what workwear can be, but it's a very smart version. The third category is socials. So let's say what would you wear at an event or if you're getting an award. So women ended up wearing a little black dress or ended up wearing a Kanjivaram sari. So neither they were going clubbing nor they were going for a wedding, but they didn't know what to wear at an award function where they were representing their organization. So very recently, a couple of months ago, we also launched workwear saris. Now, in a way, we are also challenging the handloom saris because when we say workwear saris or when you think of politicians wearing a sari or representing India or maybe at a UN convention, by the end of the day, handloom as a fabric tends to crush, in a couple of hours. So there's a lot of research that is going on in terms of anti-crease, anti-invisible saris, and slightly modernizing the concept of sari. That's what we are working on, and I think we're probably the only brand in the country that have sort of established that space very early.
In the world of trends and fast fashion and fashion changing every 3 months, why did you choose to start your sustainable brand?
I think sustainable is something which when I started the brand in 2008, sustainability was a very metaphor in India. So it's globally it's more acceptable. When I started the brand, I did not know that I would even start with a sustainable brand. I was, then Peter came to us and they gave us certain perspective upon that even the clothing brand can be a sustainable brand. So I feel we were one of the first brands in India to get opt for a sustainable brand, and gradually we collaborated with Worldwide Fund for Nature, People for Animals, FIAPO, World Animal Protection, and it's been a long journey. It's been a beautiful journey. We have a Western wear collection which is more globally acceptable in terms of we see that it is more practical to sell and it is all season.
collection. So right now we are doing a more of a kids wear collection, but sustainable is the new future, I think.
As a curious consumer, actually, when I was doing the research, and I'm sure the students would also echo the same sentiments. What exactly is this vegan thing happening in clothes and this speed up and organic? So could you please explain a bit what this anything?
Let me tell you that vegan is something which if it's a cosmetic brand, there's no animal testing. It has more of natural elements. And in terms of clothing, we focus more upon the cotton collection and not do any silk production or woolen. We don't kill an animal. We don't harm an animal. We in terms of apparel production, we also make sure that the environment is clean. There's less wastage, and now that since we have been recognized by United Nations last year, sustainability is something.
Switching the discussion to inclusive sizing, I think Ninja is the right person to be asked. Models need to be thin, models tall, they should have a particular feature. Why not people of age, people with scars, people of disability featured on the brand? What is it that is happening? Is the consumer aware? Is it only consumers or is it something else?
Well, what you're asking me is something that happens in the industry every day. We are expected to have a prototype of everybody on the ramp so that everyone feels represented. But as much as I am a person who believes in inclusivity and diversity, I also believe in fitness. I feel like, a lot of people might disagree with what I say, but I feel like someone should really take care of their fitness. And instead of fitting in and, being a part of the glamour world and finding representation of not being fit, apart from many facts that they have health issues and whatnot, I am somebody who promotes fitness because that gives you longevity of life and also helps you, survive this world. If you are fit, you can do more. And talking about inclusivity in terms of people with scars, people with vitiligo, I have a personal story to share. I rescued a killer from Haryana. So she was a girl who used to. So there's this girl I rescued from Haryana. She was a killer, and I made her live with me in my own house for 3 months. So there's a very vicious concept of how children are taken away from the family, saying कि तू तो हमारी बिरादरी का है, and they're never given education, they're given disgrace. So what I'm trying to tell you is, her walking on the ramp is not enough. Her being accepted in the world is, her getting jobs is, and that's not gonna happen if you are going to agree to give your jobs. That's one part of the story. The person has to pursue education, has some sort of qualifications, and then get into the whole realm of starting to work. What I'm trying to say on this story is modeling, inclusivity, diversity are hot topics to discuss right now, but that doesn't take away the fact that all of us have to be very intelligent to survive in this world. So education is a must. I am a lawyer. I started, advocacy and everything while I was running a company. So all the women over here, again, I'm going to repeat it for you. Life is not easy. You're in a man's world. So you gotta follow the rules like that. Instead of comfort, focus on success. And that's why I tell everyone, tokenism is celebrated everywhere. You take a big girl, walk her on the ramp. That doesn't mean that a family will accept a Bahurani like that. So, be very real with life. And instead of finding a spot on the ramp, find your spot in real life. That's what I believe in.
From supermodel to the design, you have done something called adaptive clothing, and you've been doing research and all of that. What is it? What is adaptive clothing first? And then the next question.
Educationally, I'm from a management and an advertising background. And I started my statement with trying to understand the consumer. So my design journey has been pretty much on the ground in academics. So when I started my journey as a professional, I was trying to understand the psyche of the consumer without the consumer having to say, their innovations about their body. They might not explicitly express it. Um, about the financial constraints, about the social constraints, and a lot of many other aspects which often the consumer do not define in as many words. You're working in the bridal space. The girl has come back from Oxford and she's in a conservative Marwadi family, so she wants to wear a gown, but the mother wants her to wear something, very, very conservative. And how do we marry the two? So we had a lot of work to do as a psychologist also when we were trying to convert to sales. And that I think a lot of people who will probably get or opt for sales or marketing jobs, they would relate to. And then we thought that if we're blessed to understand the language of unspoken of consumers like you, we can probably understand the language of people who cannot speak actually. So let's say an autistic kid who has very specific requirement in terms of textiles. Maybe color psychology can work very well in their treatment. Maybe somebody sitting on the wheelchair the entire day. What kind of clothes that person should wear? We say that India is the youngest nation today with the largest amount of youth in India. But very soon this youth is going to become old and India is going to become the oldest nation. But are we infrastructurally or even from the fashion perspective, are we even looking at that aspect or that need, or are we just doing as an industry for the Hollywood and the Bollywood and the red carpet? So are we looking at functional clothing? So I was sharing the with everybody, just the session that my mother had a stroke in October and she's partially right side paralyzed. We don't have a single brand in the country where I can buy clothes for her. So I had to create clothes. I mean, that's what she has a designer at home who can afford to do that. But that is what we are heading towards. Is there a single brand in the country that is looking at clothes for your grandparents or looking at clothes for a Down syndrome kid who has an eagle chest or an autistic kid who is very, very sensitive to, let's say, polyester? So even color psychology, go back and read, and whatever little knowledge that I have over the last 20 years, 80% of the special schools have their uniforms which are made of polyester, which is the uniform that you and me wear. For the simple reason that you have two uniforms and you have to just keep washing them and keep reusing them. That's how we do in regular schools. In Bachuni skin, breathing and polyester tends to irritate them. They're already irritated, they're already agitated, they're already hyperactive, and you make them wear uniforms where their skin doesn't bleed. So it's not helping in their treatment. Another very obvious research, for some reason, 70% of fashion schools around the world have red uniforms. God sake, I don't know why. They just feel that they make the kids happy. What does color red do to you?
I think they make more
Basic human psychology. Even in interiors, you don't use color red in your bedrooms. You use it in activity areas, you use it in play areas, maybe in gyms, जहाँ पे आपको energy चाहिए and you want to activate your brain. A child जिसका brain already activated है उसको अगर आप लाल uniform पहना दोगे तो उसका क्या हाल होगा? So on one side you're making them wear red uniforms and then you're giving them injections or tranquilizers to calm their nerves and sending them again for therapy saying that something is not right with the brain. Too sad that we as designers have not done enough. So that's the little space that I work on. I do a lot of research. I've been trying to introduce this as a curriculum in colleges that is clothing for people with disabilities. And thankfully, I've been able to introduce that in depth in a couple of colleges like IMM HR Institute, where it is still a research module because teachers will be a subject in the most. So thankfully, it has been introduced as a research module. So a lot of research is coming in this space. And I hope that by the time we grow old, we'll have some solutions.
Let's be forward to that. Regarding the size, how do you manage? What is the consideration that when you are engaging your
So to the very different segment all across the world, we do a kids wear collection or a women's wear collection. Please to it that the climate and the clothing, it goes hand in hand in terms of the environment factors, or and since it's a sustainable brand, it's mostly cotton. It is very easy to maintain and it is a very adaptable clothing. So we don't have to. And cotton is a fabric which is very it's a very old clothing. It started from it's a pre-independent clothing. Our independence struggle started with some making Indian clothing and Indian fibers, and that's how the history comes in. And but we are basically targeting the global consumers, and India is, of course, an inclusive part of it.
So, which countries do you export your? Well,
Right now, the export is not happening in a very large scale, but we have consumers who would like to, since the brand is more little, if the brand designs and the concept is little English and manufacturing. Have a look at the last collection, which was based upon the Victorian and Elizabethan era. It depicted a lot of London and English theme. So we are basically targeting the English consumers.
okay. Then coming to you. Do you think NC companies fashion is evolving in terms of DNA? They are different. They consider themselves. I don't know how much they are, but they think like that. They are more attracted to the same thing. How do you think that will
I'm the most non-fashion person in the fashion industry. I am politically influenced person. I am a Delphi. And I feel like, we have been able to come so many miles as youth, as being Indians, because we have never really gone into a comfort zone. But I feel like this generation, Gen Z, they're so sentimental and emotional. Their emotions and sentiments are right here. Oh my God, for who I am, accept me for my pronouns, accept me for everything. I agree to that. But we used to back in the day think as families, think as clans, and we used to go around that if I take a decision, how is it going to impact my father or my mother? And all of the reviews that I'm giving you because I'm a young Gen Z brother. So I see him, उसको अगर मैं गमला उठा के नीचे रखने को बोलूं, he can lift weights in the gym, but he cannot hold up a gamla because that's not going to be a part of an Instagram reel. What I'm trying to tell you is everything that this generation does is very sentimental and personal. I feel like, this generation being so intelligent, seeing AI, seeing development in all spheres, can use that to make something more important and relevant out of their lives rather than just doing things for Instagram. I feel like more than doing families, don't focus on gender, how feminine should be, how masculine should be. We're all humans after all. We have to do our best. So I feel like this generation of yours, don't be so soft. Don't be softies. Make decisions and stick to it and do something big. And don't get too involved in gender roles. I feel like there is a way to be feminine these days. There's a way to be masculine these days. It doesn't matter. It's all a teamwork. It's all a family-driven environment. Girls look good as girls. Guys look good as guys. And I feel like the world has arrived with this ratio and this relationship, and we should stick to that.
The same question. Now, Gen Z is also free. How are you taking the feedback for your designs? Because Gen X, millennials, I mean, now nobody cares about them. I mean, they are like each team, them, they, binary, not binary, all the things will come. So how's the feedback? What's the feedback going to be?
I'll share a very recent experience. There was this girl who came for an interview as and I have this because I have an interest in human psychology and try to understand. So I have these long conversations even while conducting an interview. So there was this girl I said, it's partly dressed, although not appropriate for an interview. She was wearing a crop top and an oversized jacket and all of that. I said, where do you shop? They're from Meesho. Meesho क्वालिटी तो बहुत बेकार होती है ना मीशो की मैम मुझे क्वालिटी चाहिए नहीं then I have to create content every day and I'm not going to repeat clothes when I go to college. So in 6,000 rupees I wear new clothes every day to my college. That's Gen Z for you. Coming back to my brands, which keep hopping in talking about quality, we are so quality driven. You know, we are so bothered about the inside finishing of the garment as much as the outside finishing. But it really made me think again, if the customer wants rotten apples, you give the product. We are giving fine quality, fine clothing, but does the consumer really want the fine clothing and good quality? She's very clear she had to wear it white. She's not going to repeat the clothes. So it really got me thinking in terms of how do I strategize for the future? Because you're still stuck at Gen Z. I have a Gen Alpha sitting right in front of me. That's my daughter who's a company, you know, and I was earlier sharing that I have a younger daughter who's 8 years old, and she has something called a digital avatar, where she plays these video games. She wins, I don't know, certain points, and if she does, then she can afford a certain kind of clothing and a certain kind of hat and a certain kind of footwear, and then she had a digital glitch where she lost that avatar, and she was sulking for 3 days. She's least bothered about physical clothes that I keep buying for her, you know, when I'm traveling abroad, and she doesn't even touch them. So I think you should be more worried about that generation. That do you even want to look at physical fashion clothes, or are we probably just looking at AI and the virtual world? Because 5 years and 10 years from now, the fashion scenario is going to be very, very different from where we are today.
So, think now. Why sustainable? That is the next part. The first is the that's that.
I honestly feel that in India there's various price points and various markets available. Let's say there's Sarojini and then there's Rajput Nagar and then there's the Saket Mall. And there are a few five-star hotels like Trident Hilton and various segments and various economy class. I feel it's a little challenging to understand what is the consumer base. Of course, we cater to the niche and a very high-end segmented market. But when we compare Indian market to any other global country, we feel Indians, I personally feel India is a market wherein people are not very brand conscious. Only the niche and the high-end consumers may be brand aware and they have very particular tastes in terms of what they would actually like to wear. But when we think about the middle class segment, they generally their focus may be even for their child's education or for their grandparents or elderly people's medical, covering the medical bills. And it is not very practical for them to buy a lehenga worth 1 lakh rupees for even if it's a wedding of their daughter. So I feel when it's a Gen Z thing and when we create a garment, even the even everything right from the thread to the prints to the stitches and the entire collection is created with a lot of care and there's no mistakes happening there. So I feel if even if it's a Gen Z catering to global market or catering to the consumers who are more brand conscious, I think that's a better step to take it forward.
I don't spoke about the later was 1 lakh, but the longer term. Now the kind of requirements we get, सिर्फ आगे आगे embroidery कर दो, फोटो तो आगे ही आनी है ना. So that's sustainability.
Runway, both abroad and India. That with the changing times, the audience, the people are ready to see diverse faces all the time. Means shorter models, scarred models, vitiligo, disabled, color, pluralism. You feel the Indian audience has changed. But can you see all campaigns that Katrina Kaif does and who's the other one with the beauty brand? Someone else also. A lot of influencers are starting to come up with their beauty brands. But I kind of feel like everyone who's played in that campaign is tokenism. They are just trying to sell that to the audience. But do they really believe in that beauty? Do they really? My question to them is that because I am telling you from the other side of the modeling agency, I run a modeling agency. हमको क्वेरी ऐसे आती है मोटी लड़की चाहिए, एक के मुंह पे धब्बे होने चाहिए, एक ऐसे मुझे इसकी पैरों पैरों में बाल होने चाहिए, क्योंकि ब्रीफ ऐसा आया है. So they are more concerned about selling. But my concern is, are they concerned about giving identity to these women? Because right now everything has become marketing. Instagram was before to write an instant post, now it's become a marketing tool. People are just commercializing everything. So I kind of feel like everybody, consumers are ready for everything because consumers like us. मुझे नहीं पता मुझे क्या पहनना है. आपको पता है कहीं पे जाने से पहले? I don't know. It's the brands telling us this is what you need to look like. This is what you need to wear. This is how things are. But I kind of feel like nobody really, at least the fashion part of the business, I'm not talking about people like designing and stuff because that's a different ballgame and I'm not, I can't comment on something I don't understand. But in terms of individualism and representing people, I kind of feel like everyone in the world, off the camera needs to give a long way that people for who they are. Because acceptance has started happening through pronouns, but not through personalities yet. Maybe there's fair enough, it's changed slowly. That is one thing which has happened. CNI is there, but it's still whitewashing people. But what we have done with the companies we celebrating Gemwara, they are now considering big campaigns. We are also having our models do movies now. That's the thing, and that's what we're trying to celebrate with our agency. So I think long way to go for people to accept people, but consumerism is thriving. Actually, for both of you, how do you balance artistic expression of clothes along with wearability or the practicality of wearing for both of you?
or the activity which we every season is based on a particular segment of particular collection. Already a sustainable plan and it's already a most easier material. But when it's about the creativity, we not just did the creativity aspect, we also collaborated with a lot of wildlife organizations, which said and which supported, and we spoke a lot of animal welfare, how animals and birds, they should be a part of the ecosystem. If humans are, specifically after COVID, it was essential to, create a message, the communication which we said to the audience and when we supported the wildlife, that, we humans are a part of the planet, but of course we should not be selfish enough and completely, ignore the fact that animals or even wildlife or uh, even the plants and the trees, oceans, they are all a part of us. Without them, humans would be the first one to be impacted first. We need oxygen to live, or we need water to drink. And without them, it is going to directly impact humans.
I think that question is going to answer if you isolate art from science. The moment you feel that creativity is not a lot of science than just art, I think it becomes much easier. When we say that we are designing clothes for somebody, we have to keep eyeing myself aside and I have to think of the consumer. What is his pain? What is his need? What is his want? So it's a very selfless space than a selfish space as a designer. I'm not designing clothes for myself. So that's one. And when I'm designing clothes, when we say that we're trying to understand the language of unspoken, 20% of the time we do gamble, but 80% of the time we know that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Because if we don't do that, then every collection, I mean, imagine when you're running a business, 2 plus 2 is 4, next collection 2 plus 2 is 5, the third collection is 2 plus 2 is 6. You never know that it will hit the market and whether you'll be able to sell the collection or not. So you have to get back in terms of decoding the formula of what is selling and what your consumer wants without the consumer specifically saying कि मुझे ये चाहिए क्योंकि शायद consumer को भी नहीं पता उसको क्या चाहिए वो हमें decode करना पड़ता है. Very simple example I'll give you. So we have this brand called Office in June. When we got on decoding the sales for Office in June and also did a couple of exhibitions and road shows, I was personally there trying to understand the cream contract and whether people are endorsing the collection or is there something that they are not liking. You'll be surprised that 50% of our sales is done to people or it's consumed by people who are actually not working. It's tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities. Most likely these women are wearing it at kitty parties. They are not working, but they feel aspired or it's an aspirational brand for them because every woman today wants to work, even if they are not working. Maybe पूरे साल में एक exhibition लगाती होगी अपने घर में, but that's work for her. She's like workwear clothes. So to say that we have planned and we have strategized something in a particular way, but you have to understand that how that 2 plus 2 is finally taking shape at the ground level. It was a very interesting insight.
Before I go to the Q&A, last question. What hopes do you have for the future in terms of DE?
I'm a very retro style kind of person. I love how my parents are. I love how my father behaves. I love how my mom behaves. I can't comment on the new genders that are coming up because something I don't understand, then I'm not. I don't think I'm capable to comment. But talking about genders, because right now that has become the talk of the world, you know. Men are being taught how to become men by adulterated, and women are being how to they're being taught how to become women by some Sophie talks about how women should be. But I kind of yeah. I kind of feel like, you know, we should move beyond gender. You know, we should uh, be okay with being soft and be okay with very tough. And my future for inclusivity, diversity, everyone should be accepted, but with a certain parameter of, like, you know, when you are a management student, you need to have a specific degree. I feel like passion is somewhere where you don't need degree to tell yourself that I'm a super. So I feel like passion should also have parameters of how people should be, because there's a lot of impact we are creating. You know, whatever models are wearing in the campaigns, people want to dress up as on the streets. But can you wear those clothes and walk on the street? So I kind of feel like before buying those products, or you know, before trying to you know, formalize yourself in that action and in that passion, I feel like people should also use their brain, because I kind of feel like all the brain is work is done by algorithms on Instagram. I feel like people, the future should be people being intelligent and more aware of what to consume in terms of content also and in terms of passion also. And again, I want to repeat it. Men should be men and women should be women. No, we should not.
Any future plans, any future initiatives that you are planning in terms of D&I as a fashion designer, not going with the trend, anything. You've been doing it. What is it offering?
Yes, there's a lot of research that I have to document in terms of clothing for people with disability. There are a lot of talks that we've done. There's a lot of groundwork, but I also feel that this knowledge will just die the day I will die. I want that to be in the policies somewhere so that it carries on for the next generations, so that they don't have to start from ground zero. Having said that, you know, to a lot of my summing remarks to a lot of students who are here, who will be applying jobs, who will be in decision-making roles in the future, just remember one thing: जब गोली लगती है ना, गोली पूछती है क्या आदमी हो या औरत है. Skill is your skill is in the right place. Whether you're applying for jobs, so don't think that you're being discriminated. If it comes, let it come. But work on your skill. Even what Ninja spoke in terms of, you know, choti ladki, lambi ladki, moti ladki. You know, often why these girls rejected is because of the skill. If they're good in modeling, trust me, I would hire them. But they start feeling victimized that I've been rejected because of my skin or because of my figure. If they're good in facing the camera, you know, they're having women like Meena Manuel or Kathy Gandava or brown skin color and with their confidence on the run, why not? So even if you're hiring, hire them for his skill because you are future bosses, not because they're a man or a woman.
If company please want to start a similar business, sustainable fashion, what is the advice that you would like to give?
Starting with a sustainable business versus a fast fashion brand is a better way to go forward in terms of future of our planet, and they should be, you know, to start a business. It's not just about finances. It's also about the creativity aspect. It's also about the marketing. It's also about the vision where one would like to take the brand to go. I feel sustainability is more globally acceptable today because it is more. It means we are also inviting the wildlife, and it says that it's an inclusive of it's a brand that is that states of inclusivity. So I feel, starting a sustainable brand today in a competition where hundreds of brands are like Zara or any other brand like Mango. So in a competition where hundreds of out of 10, if there are 9 brands are fast fashion and 1 brand is sustainable brand, we are already not in the competition. And we are not in the competition, but yet again we are in the competition with the fast fashion brands. So I feel this is a better way. They say that the winner stands alone. So I feel that's a better way to go forward.
Yeah, just add a perspective to what management means you want to be very fast. So I have a different perspective. It is very difficult for a country like ours, जहाँ रोटी कपड़ा मकान नहीं है, to think of the planet. We must think of the planet, but it is very so today. For all those people who are talking about sustainability, when Indra and Amazon say they're not bothered about sustainability. They're only bothered about buying from the e-commerce space. So how much ever designers like us would like to, would want to, but sustainable clothing has to convert to sustainable business. So the need of the hour is to do a lot of research which is happening at the back end to figure out textiles. Because let's say we were to talk about pure cotton, pure khadi, or pure hemp. The starting range for meter is 700 rupees per meter. T-shirt banani, matlab, imagine that 700 is only the textile cost. There's the logistics and supply chain or the marketing and manufacturing. So, what really needs to be done by designers like us or as an industry, figure out how we carry forward sustainability in form of converting that to sustainable business. That is why.
Let me say one thing that which you said is right. India is a developing country, and it's a very difficult country to even coming to another, and the large population. It's not an easy country to even survive for a middle class person. Of course, when a person will start they will think about the revenue and they will think about their profits first rather than thinking about the sustainability of the aspect. But what we are doing is we are also targeting Indian market, but we are majorly targeting the foreign markets. And we did not even thought only about saving the planet. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been in the fashion designing field. I wouldn't have actually maybe maybe doing some other on a larger scale. Maybe writing the rules and regulations of every citizen, what they should be doing. All the technical aspects of all the maybe as a citizen, what what the governments should do. So I'm not at that level right now, but I felt sustainable. Starting a sustainable brand, already fashion is a very competitive market. So I did not want to be in the rat race and thinking, there are so many bigger designers like Tarun Tahyani and Rohit Park. So I already knew that I'm in a very tough market and in a very tough competition. So I felt why not starting something very creative, yet the goal and strategy can be different in terms of marketing. And maybe I would be recognized after 1 or 2 years. And that's what we did because that's what we did and that's what we
So, I want to enjoy. You know, if you want to pursue a career in fashion or in modeling, and then we will take up a couple of questions from the panelists. 3 questions maximum.
Start a business first, instead of buying clothes, save money, at least 25,000, 50,000. Because you need a specific amount of money in your bank when you're starting a current account to open to your company. And I'm sure with discussion panels, people don't really tell you about the nitty-gritty of how it really happened. I feel like as individuals, you should be more focused on building plans and, don't be scared, just go for it. Failures are a part of life. It happens in relationship, it happens in marriages, it happens in parenthood. Until and unless you try, you won't succeed. So, you are all management students and you are built and cut to build businesses. And if you don't, that will be a big failure in itself. So fail, but learn.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. My question is from Varija, ma'am. Since you have an MBA and you have been involved in fashion designing, interior and everything. Similarly, I have done BCom along with advanced diploma in interior designing, and I'm also in PGDM right now. But when I did interior designing, it was but I didn't need a practical exposure. So, if I want to pursue interior design in the future, what should I do? Like, what should my plan of action and how should I move right now on my skills? Would you message me? Well, that we have an interior design. So I'll tell you, please don't check about you. So I'll tell you how it started. And you are in a much better phase and era of digital information than where we started purely with cushions. Aditi, we thought it's fairly easy charge like Manu, right away. It's easier than making garments. So we started with making cushions, then somebody came to us. Again, coming back to if your customer wants product, you give them what they want, right? They said, bedsheet bana sakte, but there's no rocket science. Then somebody came, can you make curtains for us? We said, we've not done it, but there's no rocket science. Then there was this consumer who came and she said, I want to get the entire wall street for my daughter's room. Because you have a very personal and a warm touch to what you're creating, which I don't see in the market. Me, like an excited kid, I said, I would like to come to your house and see the space where, we will create this wedding for. And I went and I saw there was some furniture. I said, furniture, man. तो अभी खरीदना है आप फर्नीचर बना सकते हो सिर्फ बनाया नहीं है but there's no rocket science we do it for our homes absolutely fine and then of course went on to do a lot of research what is teak wood what is Maranti what is oak wood both primary and secondary research in the department and as you are कि कौन सी plywood use करनी है so it's essentially plywood use करनी है then you go to a shop and you say essentially use करें या दूसरी तो he will say कि essentially 20 साल की गारंटी है और ये जो दूसरी है इसकी सिर्फ 5 साल की गारंटी है then you go back and talk to the other carpenter and then he says essentially तो सिर्फ नाम की खाता है आप ना ये वाली यूज करो और मैंने तो बहुत यूज करी then you go to the 6th and the 7th and the 8th and the 9th. By the time you finish your research with all those 10 people, you have better knowledge than any of them individually. So there is no shortcut to hard work. There is no shortcut to the level of research that you can do in today's time. You can do it online, you can do it physically, your vendors, everything. The more you research today, the materials that are coming. So a lot of people, I think you're in a brilliant space because a lot of designers are working with very old materials because they have become very saturated with their work. But the newer the material, the technology that is coming in, if you get a hang of it and get leveled up with them with your knowledge, I think it's a cakewalk. Thank you so much, Varija, Aditi, Ninja. I mean, it has been a beautiful and a very, very learning experience for me. So thank you, each one of you, for your new perspectives, some of which I had always considered was the way forward. And it was never articulated, but you articulated it and very beautifully done. And I want to give you a big hand. In fact, I had so you guys have also this view. I have decided as well. But thank you so much. It really it brings a feeling of pride to the heart to you that you have such forward-looking thoughts. Each and every one in each and every aspect, whether I talk about in nature, wonderful. The authenticity which you must have, because only that makes you exceptional. If you're not authentic, then you're a copycat. Aditi, sustainability, absolutely essential. I mean, you can't get away from it. It's difficult, it's expensive, it's not possible, but it is something that you have to do if you have to survive, if you have to do. And Varija, I can't get away from the fact that you managed to sit and think about people who nobody thought of. No one thought about clothing for people who really never ever were able to express it, whether it be in the autism spectrum or whether it be in even in terms of clothes with the ease with which you do it. The ergonomics of fashion is what I would put it. Thank you so much. I really, really am very grateful to you all for having me. I will speak, but you all forced me to do it. I just will start. That is one. One question, which is where I stuck myself, and I also know how to do that. What is your thought on pink tax? Have you heard the thing about the pink tax that's being spoken about recently? Pink tax, the same product being sold in the market, targeted differently. To the males, it is at a different price, and for females, it is at a different price. This is one of the bad things that is there. When you have differential pricing, is what we will call it in our time. But how would you look at that? That is what I'd like to ask. Thank you so much. Same product, absolutely the same thing. A razor, a pink one for the ladies, white one for the dressing, pink one, and yes, 120. Is that okay? This is the pink tax. I think that also happens in the retail spaces. When you go to the malls, women are at a different floor, just below the food court, because they will probably travel up as much, in a mall to buy something with a man. So usually men's clothing is at the first floor, and women's clothing is at the second floor. Second floor rentals should be much lesser, however, they are much more. Because the women's clothing is something which is most bought in the malls. I agree and disagree with the concept, but it's the women who are shopping, and I think it's just the opportunity that everybody is.
Well, I kind of feel like women like it expensive, We like everything expensive. Haircut that are 5,000 rupees and kind of that. So I kind of feel like women have this thing, if महंगा नहीं तो बढ़िया नहीं. So as man said that there are going to be a lot of people who are trying to build trust to understand, and I think it's a great opportunity for all of you to start razors that are 50 rupees. And instead of criticizing what paying taxes are happening, I think women should start telling that they're as normal as men. But we all expect special treatment. So maybe 10 rupees gap is great, but maybe you should start your own brands that are cheaper and more affordable by women. Instead of criticizing the big daddies who are making money off us, we should also make money. So let's start businesses in that space. Absolutely.
I have a question from Nandama. So basically, I want to know that we have heard a lot about the industry. So I want to know how you survive in this industry and you explore New York as well. So what is the major difference between New York and what is
Already talked about it, but I will tell you, men are not safe in the fashion industry. So a lot of designers that are sitting. So I'm not a very famous person in the fashion industry for all the wrong reasons because I'm totally against, men being coerced into sexual intercourse with by older men. Because what is happening is we always tell that women are unsafe, women are unsafe, but we need to right now save our men. We need to save fathers of tomorrow. Because right now if everyone converts to the third gender, we're not gonna have any fathers. So, because when problems are not openly addressed, because that will make them feminine. अगर हम अपने problems के बारे में बात करेंगे. But I kind of feel like it's great to choose a relationship like being a gay person. It's great, but it should not be forced on various young people because usually in the industry, 17-year-olds come and they go like, ऐसे ही चलता है, ऐसे ही पहनना चाहिए, ऐसे party करोगे भी. So I feel like in that moment, you should take a lot of confidence in yourself and tell yourself this is something that I'm not okay with. And if you're okay with it, go for it. But if you're not okay with it, join our agency. We help men become men and we help them for a safe environment for men.
Next question. Good afternoon to all. Actually, I'm working on a research paper on impact of our celebrities endorsement. Yeah, good afternoon to all. As I'm writing a research paper on impact of celebrity endorsement of consumer behavior. As all you are from the fashion industry, so I want your feedback regarding this. That what's the impact on a celebrity endorsement? Does it really impact the in your design or in your marketing strategy?
Was it more interesting or you watched all the 3 months?
All 10 answer.
Okay.
My question is that does it really impact the consumers on the impact of celebrity endorsement?
I do feel India is a country wherein the celebrities have a huge impact upon the audience. Let's say it's a very negative movie like an animal, which I haven't seen, but they actually promoted a lot of violence in the segment, which was more on the mass market. And of course, the educated people, they will know that what is the difference between right and wrong, but the soft minds and they could be more, it's something which was not, I personally felt that it was, the youth is a next future for us, and that's my personal perception, but it's a hit movie. And celebrity endorsements, it creates a huge impact in terms of advertising and fashion designing portfolio. I feel it's a very positive point. It's a very positive strategy to take it forward and cater to a lot of even sometimes even the foreign market. It like Deepika Padukone, she has a global face. She's recognized. Priyanka Chopra, celebrity endorsements to help the brands to grow.
Are you aware of this brand that the Harry brand maybe? Shah Rukh Khan's son. So apparently it was launched 2 days ago, and what I know as of last night, they launched in 2 days and they're stock out. So I hope that answers your question.
What made you decide to go for fashion design, and how did you manage the challenges?
क्योंकि मुझे लिफ्ट में ना एंट्रेंस एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं हुआ था। Have the right kind of creative counselors then. So, but I didn't know what kind of creativity. So, like my daughter, I was very interested in art and craft and dance and all of that. But करना क्या life में नहीं करना था. So I gave entrance exams in advertising, in fashion, in footwear design. Footwear design और fashion में तो मेरा हुआ नहीं, advertising में हो गया. So I went to Xavier's Bombay, pursued my career in advertising because I thought that's what I'm destined to do. But I think at the back of my mind, I wanted to do fashion. I went on to do my MBA and I came back and started these brands, not to become a designer, but more as a brand. So initially I hired designers to work under me, so they had worked with reputed brands. And I would, coming back to Philip Potter, I would go to the store and pretend to be a saleswoman. And like typically, ma'am, can I help you? I would dress up like a saleswoman. And our store used to be in GK1 then, the Varija market. And we were making all page 3 inspired clothing which the celebs would wear because that's what fashion or handmade was about. And then and even now, now again, understand the psychology of the women. So we designed an entire clothing line, or let's say my designers designed a clothing line inspired by Oscars. How the trend forecasting happens internationally. You follow certain forecast. India का कोई forecast नहीं होता. So you follow the international forecast. WGSN is one company that does international forecast, and they said that the celebs have worn white gowns. So the next trend is white. All the designers started making white, and we launched with the white collection. India white collection. We didn't sell anything, right? So I saw women coming to be brides, mothers would come, and I would say they would love the outfit. Beta is your color with multiple. Monday, this is the trend for her, going through and wearing an Oscars or maybe बेटा हमारी शादी के पहले 1 साल में ना सफेद कपड़ा की बेटी consumer wants right and so you need to understand the consumer. Now it was very difficult for me to come back and recondition my designers who had studied design academically. So I had already decided to fight this war of entrepreneurship. I couldn't back out. I had invested too much in me. So 6 months down the line, some of them got fired, some of them, left on their own because we were not on the same page when it came to servicing them. 6 months down the line, I started self-educating myself about design and pattern making and technicalities. A lot of my algorithms are not academically inclined; they're sort of self-taught.
One last question. That's what we stand for. Last question, Hemant.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is to you, Ms. Varija. I would like to know what are the challenges you how have your company or you have worked to overcome these barriers? Because we live in a patriarchal society and where women are expected to go home and cook for their husband or be the default caregiver for their children. But they have you done to overcome these barriers?
Thank you. And I think the woman has to fight herself first. Forget about the family, forget about anything else. I think she has to be very clear to मुझे चाहिए. वो आग और वो passion externally you cannot impose on her. So if you have a passion, and that's not just for women, even for men. If you really want something, nothing in this world will stop you. Somebody who hasn't studied design, I'll give you my personal example. Somebody who hasn't studied interior design, I designed curriculums of the colleges that rejected me. If I can do it, I'm a very average person. Anybody in the world can do it. They go out to China. Now coming to when you say women, me being a woman, for first 15 years of my career, I didn't hire women. But if I hired, they were invariably first month or the second month. पापा नहीं allow कर रहे, husband गुस्सा हो गया, मम्मी का phone आ रहा है. So please don't bring these packages to work. Because when I am treating you as equals, and then there would be delicate women, बारिश हो रही है मैम, मैं किस बाहर जा सकती हूँ? मैम हाउ ऑटो मैम लेट हो गया मैम कैसे I can't deal with all of this. So women have to first fight their own internal battle of being the weaker gender. The day they do it, I think everybody will get aligned. And you have to also understand that the men or the family or the parents have also not seen it. I come from a family where the women of the family didn't work. And I was not allowed. But I also respected my father that he's never seen any women in family working. So I also have to take him along with the journey I have experienced. Today I got my daughter along. So she has to see what her mother goes through rather than assuming that I'm not with her when she really needs me at home. She needs to see my journey. It's an equal responsibility for us to educate our family. Now you can do that with friction or you can do that bodily. I think that's a choice a woman has.
So I have a question from Linda ma'am. Like Varija ma'am also just talked about it incidentally. I have the same question. So ma'am, what does feminism mean to you? And like nobody talks about just women, women, like nobody talks about men. So I want to
Very important question. I feel like influencers and celebrities have huge impact on how women have become. Kind of feel like when women wear pants and they see a Katrina Kaif wearing pants, they think that it's not okay, it's not cool to cook, it's not cool to take care of your kids, it's not cool to be a mom. Because now we've seen like women don't want to have kids because they think it's too much a liability or too much of a responsibility. I got married last year. I didn't even tell my parents. That's another story. But I cook at home. I come back home and I cook my child something review. I'm preparing to be a judge, so I study that as well. And my husband loves the fact that I'm cooking. Men are drawn to mothers. Men are drawn to females being females. I kind of feel like, men are having so many issues because of their situation in बाहर ही निकाल दिया. तो relevant ही नहीं. तो कुछ भी नहीं है. Look at men like Vikram. He tries so hard to be a nice guy. Because Priyanka Chopra is talking about mental stability and empowerment and all of that does not make us think that this is the only aspect of being a woman. It's cool to be a mother. It's cool to cook for your husband. It's cool to be affectionate. Because those things are not shown on Instagram does not mean they're not important. So I kind of feel like cut men some slack, bring them to our circle. Feminism is anyways, killing them in the punch. छोटा बोल दिया तो divorce, नाटा बोल दिया तो divorce, घर पे नहीं आया टाइम पे तो divorce. Women should not be so harsh on men. I kind of feel like men and women both are important for the world to survive. And feminism should not be only about women. I'm not a feminist. I support men and women equally. I have brothers at home. I kind of feel like everyone should have that perspective so that we can all thrive together. Next session. Because I could feel that you want to say something.
bigger word, and feminism is the woman who takes a family, and if she's all herself and she is all about feminism is not only about the independence. I feel that if she's in a family and she's supporting her family and she's helping the man to achieve his goals and the children are happy, it's again a feminism.
So, small activity that we had asked our students to do. We had asked them to dress up the way they wanted, which was effortlessly styled, not putting in too much of effort. So there is a prize for that. The moment they came to know there is a prize, some of them ran to the alternate dress. So, if you guys could choose winners, now what we can do is, because there's no time for, they can just stand up on their seat. Just stand up wherever you are. It's yours. And can choose a team. Four winners. They're ready to first two guys. No pressure.
You know,
From there, you can choose. Okay. Next row, second row, please around. Can you please don't people who want to stand can stand. There's no pressure. There's no pressure. There's no pressure. Last row, all of them. Okay. Fine. Vishnu. Yes, Vishnu. Vijay. Last. Could you please come in the front? One boy is fully functioning. Come, you can come in the front. Oh, not you guys. Not the HR Club. Nandini, you can come in front. Just give a Gautami, come inside. Lot of you, please come inside, don't hide. See? Come. You you are not featuring in book. I think you are also there. So, no club members alone. You know. First, you have one more thing. Certain Muskan, please never. And please, next year Muskan, please clap for the team. Next year Archit. Next year Hemant. So now I would like to extend a heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Ms. Varija Bajaj, Ms. Aditi Swain, and Ms. Singh. Thank you ma'am, for the insights have shared light on pressing need for sustainability in fashion, emphasizing on importance on eco-conscious practices and ethical production methods. The discussion on inclusive sizing has highlighted the significance of embracing diversity in body types and ensuring that fashion is accessible to all individuals, regardless of size or shape. Let us take their valuable insights to heart and work together towards more sustainable, inclusive, and diverse fashion industry. Now I would like to request Director Sir to come up on the dais and say a few words.
Hello, everybody. Trying to prepare because once I feel okay, now I know also will know. I got to be careful. Things that came up earlier, it was a wonderful learning session or just about everybody. Varija and I have been friends for a long time, and obviously, because we have been knowing each other, many of the things we resonated with. There is a very important thing that Aditi tried to tell us, and I personally believe there is Gen G or whatever, Gen Z or whatever, and Gen Alpha. You are becoming more and more conscious of the ESGs and sustainability is about that. So a lot of things are happening, and I'm very hopeful that by the time you get into that middle management position, sustainability would be there, be it in fashion or be it in anything else. So already we are talking about organic and all that phenomena dhimkana, like we say in Bihari. Okay, and I'm more than thoroughly impressed by nature. She really justifies her name. Some of the things that she said is something which I see in schools. That men are men, women are women. And I would just add on to what she said, to endorse what Varija said, and we all need to learn. मेरा ऑटो खराब हो गया सर मेरे तो सर दर्द हो गया और मेरे को क्या हो गया we need to learn from them and more especially the women folk. They will always be the anchor of any family, whether they be daughters, sisters, wives or mothers. They will always be, but they will only be that when we stop offering stupid excuses. If you have, and the point that Varija was trying to bring, this is something which again is experience, and I thought it was an endorsement with what I have been telling you all. It's not really only the skill. What she was made is her attitude to achieving anything. The skills comes. She just demonstrated that she was never into interiors. She was never into fashion designing. But that passion and the attitude that I will win, we need to really retrospect. And this I'm not only telling the students, I'm telling everybody present here. We need to retrospect. Do we have the passion and do we have the attitude? Do we want to win or do we want to be one of those people on the footpath? Choice is ours, which is always free. The consequences that you pay. Now coming to fashion. These are three very high-end ladies on this expertise. Mine is not. So for me, what is fashion? And what would be yeah, on that? To me, good fashion is about being able to express yourself. It's not about what people are wearing, but unfortunately what's happening. And this is where I'm probably going against what industry Smita came from. I'm anti-brand. What I wear is the brand. I make the brand, not the brand me. And thank you. What he was that if you want to not grow rotten apple, fashion industry will give you that. Are you sure what you want? Are you sure what you want to be yourself? Are you sure that there is a brand? Are you sure there is a you incorporate? You have that as an attitude. Are you able to be resilient enough to achieve that? That's the point these three ladies come. Varija, many times over, she has proved it in her own life. Varija has proved it in her own life, and whatever she has done is avant-garde, getting into the area of sustainability clothing, when decidedly is still not a very successful model. So, sustainability is a good word. and it's a lesson that you can give to others, but it is backward when you have to sustain that. That's the difference. That's the attitude. So she has done it. And thank you very much all. Hope all of us can make more efforts.
I would like to request Status of Andy Ma'am to come on the stage and give a token of thanks to our guests. Staff, all of you. I would like to request all the faculty members to come up on the stage for a good. Everyone who wishes to join, please. Now one picture with only a chart. HR Club